Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I decided to do this reading about the music bank incident in Chile, that we were all really excited, especially me. I'm not from Chile, but I'm from Argentina, so I, as a Latin American fan and also a DOB, a fan of all the groups that participated. I was super excited for the Chilean fans and for everyone that actually had the opportunity to travel there and enjoy this. And it was unfortunate. It was so sad to watch different videos and TikToks about people telling their experience and how disappointed and heartbroken they were because of this. So I wanted to do a brief tarot reading to see what the energies about this are, what the tarot has to say about this. Of course, let's do this from a very respectful place, since we know that the artists nor the fans, there's I'm sure that from both parties are very heartbroken. So let's see. I actually did place on the left the people in charge of the organization. I don't know the name of these people or the name of this, if it's a company, I don't know, but I'm going to be referring to them as the responsibles for the organization of this event. And then on the right I placed the artists, especially the ones that probably were more affected in the sense that they couldn't perform. So to give a little bit of protagonism to see how they felt about this, even though it was pretty obvious on their faces, the disappointment, and then the situation as an overall energy. So I think that starting from the people that were in charge of the organization of this, definitely they start with a lot of they start with the Tower. They got the Tower card, the Sun, and the Page of Cups. So definitely I think that the breaking point, the Tower moment, was a bit I wouldn't say that it was abrupt. I think that probably they could have predicted and avoided this situation. I'm not saying that they had psychic powers to be oh, this was meant to happen like this, but if they had the possibility to somehow turn things, and they somehow wanted to stay optimistic through the whole experience without realizing that this was a mistake. I think that if it was for them, they would have had the artists to keep performing anyways, because there was this almost this, when you see that something is about to break, or that something is going to happen that is going to affect you, but you decide to be a bit in denial about this, to be oh, it's okay, let's continue, or let's keep this with an atmosphere of almost let's keep celebrating, from the perspective. I think that even here with the Page of Cups, I think that even if they apologize, if they even they will try to find excuses from their part, saying that this was something that it didn't have to do with them, that they did everything that they could, that they were very excited to have these people, that they did their best. There's this high level of denial here, from their perspective. So I think that probably this, if they come out, and I don't know if they release a sort of a statement, but I think that if they do, they're going to piss a lot of people off, because there's this sense of detachment from how serious the situation could have been, in the sense that this actually, thank God that they decided to stop performing, or like that the groups didn't show, like they didn't go to perform the other groups, because it would have been like a potential disaster, in the sense of how this was dangerous. And I don't know if you notice, but the card of the tower, the image, literally it's like a thunder, striking from the skies. It's striking this tower, and it's like burning and destroying this tower. So somehow it does remind me of the very unpredictable, and somehow that the weather, I don't know, maybe people that was there, maybe they can tell a bit about how from a moment it could have been very dangerous when it comes to thundering, and a lot of like the wind, and a lot of things, like actually like probably like striking, I don't know, like the lightings, or the scenario, or the tower literally, and actually like starting a fire or something like that. So I think that even though it rained, I know that a lot of people were talking about how it rained like very strongly, and we could see the fan cams that they couldn't. I don't know exactly how the fans were able to actually to record, because the rain was strong, and the poor girls that were on that stage dancing, my God. But I think that it could have gotten serious. So I think that this from their perspective would be like their perfect excuse, like, oh, we prevented like a bigger catastrophe, in the sense that, oh, the groups didn't get to perform, but we did the best, like we did the best situation, or we did make the best decision with our having like the best interest in mind, or actually like showing that they had mercy, or that they care for the artist, or that they care for the people. And actually I think that it's a bit selfish, because it could have been prevented, like it could have been rescheduled. I don't know if that would have been a possibility, but maybe changing venues, I don't know how that works. But I think that I don't know if people will get like an official apology from these organizers, because I don't see them like actually acknowledging from their part they did the best they could. Then from the artists that couldn't perform, that just had to show up in there and just wave goodbye with that sadness on their faces, and of course the fans also being so heartbroken themselves. We got the King of Cups, the King of Wands, the King of Cups, the Queen of Wands, and the Four of Pentacles. So yes, we know that there were a lot of groups actually that didn't get to perform. I think it was like TXT, 80s, and NCT Dream, and I don't know if other girl group, I couldn't see clearly. But I think that here with the first card being the King of Cups, definitely there's a feeling of empathy towards the fandoms. I think that here with the King of Cups and the Queen of Wands, there was like a mix of emotions when it comes to, okay, I have to be this, I'm feeling emotional right now, I'm feeling like a turmoil of emotions, but at the same time, like I'm really angry, and I wish I could take control of this, or actually like go straight and talk to someone, but they try to remain like emotionally mature and put together, and not to show how much it had affected them, emotionally, because they didn't want to influence the fans that were already in distress. You know, they because they got the kings, they were like, okay, yes, we are feeling you, we feel these emotions the same way as you do, we are sad as well, but we're trying to remain our posture, like trying to keep a sort of like being this sort of overprotective, like I wouldn't say like father figure, but like sort of like being this example of like, okay, I'm going to contain myself even though I'm feeling so much inside, and I want to cry as much as you guys want to cry and are crying. I think that they definitely felt the sadness of the people in there, and it had left like a very strong impact on them. I think that even after they left, when they I don't know if they arrived in Korea yet or if they're traveling, but I think that some of these members and these groups, it will take a while for them to somehow release this emotional baggage that somehow they are going to carry it with them, even on themselves, like they are going to feel very tired physically because of the amount of frustration and strong emotions and all the things that they couldn't communicate, you know, all the things that they wish they could have done and said in that moment. But I think that they were like, okay, this is not enough, like the best we can do is to be like somehow be rational, be empathic, like trying to communicate, even to like they felt like they couldn't communicate well, but this is not about the language. I think that they try to communicate even telepathically with the fans. You know, I don't know if they exchange like glances with the fans or something like that, but it was to bring them somehow comfort and to show the fans that actually, like, yes, we feel what you're feeling, we feel the same, we are sorry, we have like a mix of emotions, that they were so angry. There were a lot of idols that were so upset at this whole thing, and I think that it's going to take a while for them to recover from this. And when I say this doesn't mean that they are angry at the country or nor the people. And I think that they are angry at how few options they had to find a solution. You know, like, and I think that the language barrier, or the, I don't know if they had few, like very few staff with them, and that they didn't have the enough of translators. I don't know if they felt like they were lacking when it comes to representation. So even though if they had this will to somehow do things differently or to come to an agreement about doing, they wanted to compensate the fans, like, I wouldn't say like right there in that moment, but maybe afterwards. And they felt like very ashamed, in the sense that, oh, I have to, like, you know, keep my head down and just say that I'm sorry, you know, and that feeling so helpless, feeling so like they didn't have the support enough. Even I think that they are mad. Some of them are even mad at their own staff, because they were like, oh, how come like we cannot do something about it? Like this is an awful ending. Like this cannot end like this. I think that they were very disappointed, and I think that this, when they go back to Korea, they are going to keep holding on to that resentment. um and I think that this is somehow, for these groups, especially the ones that didn't get to perform, they're going to still have this like bittersweet kind of like very ugly feeling inside of them, that I think that probably this is going to impact their relationships with their staff or their management, because I feel like once they are in Korea, people will be like, okay, well, this wasn't your fault. It was the organization, the people that organized this. Like, it's not up to you. You couldn't do anything, but they will not let go of this. So I don't know if they will try to compensate in any shape or form. But I think that probably it could be interesting that actually these members could like talk among each other. I know I'm not saying this as, as only a specific group. I even think that even the different groups, then they could come together and like somehow work with compensating this, because, or even talking about it, because I feel like this experience was a bit traumatic for them. And I think that they will definitely need someone to talk about this, to release the frustration. And that here we didn't get any card that indicates communication. We didn't get any card that indicates swords. So definitely I think that they will have to remain quiet about a lot of things. Probably they are going to be demanded to not mention a few things, or even if they say that they're sorry, to not be too verbal about it or too opinionated, because there's a lot of things, contracts and things that they cannot say. But the frustration is going, they are not going to let this uh this thing that happened, they feel very responsible. Somehow they felt like it could have been handled differently. And then for the energy, so overall we have the Five of Cups, the Page of Wands, and the Five of Wands. So yes, I think that they will go through a moment of deep, with a very deep sadness. And I think that probably the fans will also feel like that, a feeling of like, oh, wish we had like a better condition, or even the fans feeling sorry for the artist, because I read a few comments of people actually being like, oh, they took this very long trip to actually come see us, like I mentioned in one of my lives. We here in Argentina, in Chile, we are almost at the end of the world, at the end of the globe, and they travel long hours to be here. So I understand that probably there's a sense of like, oh, we let you down, we could have done better. But I think that definitely the fans and the groups will work really hard and passionately into building that trust again, into somehow like connecting with the passion and with the joy of knowing that the trust is there, that there's nothing is broken, that they probably, the groups are thinking about coming back. There's something here, but there's a lot of interest in the middle, because we have the Five of Wands here. So I definitely think that it's not going to be easy for the companies to arrange something, because actually each one of the sides involved, the artist side and the people that organize this side, each one of them have their own side of what happened, and there's not going to be much like resolution, just like, like them competing against who is right and who is wrong. But I think that for the artist involved, for them, it's very necessary to work very like intensely and actively to heal the fans, because the fans are also going to be for a while, they're going to feel a bit sad, and they're not going to be able to let go of this situation. Even the fans that were there, they will go through a sort of mourning process, because it was a bit traumatic, for them to actually walk away from this place without seeing their favorites, and I think that probably for some people they will be like, oh, okay, well, well, one day you're going to see them again. Well, for them, it's like a very deep wound. It's a wound that will be still open for a while, but eventually they will heal. It's just that it's going to take a while, and for the groups as well, because actually I see that for these groups they're going to have a few differences, like I mentioned, with their managers or with the staff. Like something broke about like this was a sort of like a very disappointing situation where they actually were able to see how like that their team could have done something and they choose to not do so, so probably for the artists involved, they will be like, like I'm upset, I'm angry at this because I thought that we were a team, or I thought that you should have represented us better. Like, I don't know. Some relationships are going to be a bit tense, because they also experience, like, I don't know, there's a lot of things, a lot of frustrations, a lot of things that they wish they could have said, but they didn't get the support that they needed in that moment to somehow fix things. And if you add to this that they are also angry and that they cannot talk about certain things, at least not now, and I don't think that ever, because there's a lot of, like, a lot of restriction here. But I think that definitely they saw a side of this that they are very disappointed. So I think that for them it's going to take a while to heal. They are going to heal, but this incident is not going to be forgotten easily. Like, it's going to get stuck in their mind. And I think that the like I mentioned, maybe the different members of different groups, they should like reach out to one another and talk about what happened, because somehow they also need to make sense about what happened. There's a lot of frustration here. There's a lot of like awkward silences, and they also feel very responsible because of the fans, being so sad. So I think that they should like somehow reach out to each other, and talk about it, let it go, like release that feeling. And I think that the fans also should like lean on each other, like reach out to one another, be kind to one another, because even though you weren't there, or even though it wasn't your experience, you have to be empathic uh to the fans, to the people that put the effort to be there and actually wanted to presence this. We don't get to see this actually very often here in Latin America. So I'm sure the huge sadness that they must feel. So yes, guys, this is all I have for this reading. I hope that it made sense. I did try my best. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.